Hi, I'm Richard Sigler, Director of the Project Management Office at Loyola University of Maryland, and with me here is Scott Sax.
How you doing? I'm the Associate Director of the Project Management Office here at Loyola University of Maryland.
And with you today is Rich Sigler.
Yes.
I heard that. Okay, so what Scott is going to be talking to us about today are user stories, which is really a terrific way to gather requirements for a project. So Scott, what makes user stories different than just the traditional requirements gathering process?
Well, the user stories really are a way that we can capture the start of the requirements. So they're not really the full-fledged product requirements or technical requirements needed, but what they are is the anchor or the starting point for the requirements, and they tell a story that people can understand and get the full essence of what people are trying to do with the new service or system.
Well, why do they call it a story? What makes it a story?
Because it actually tells a story. It's broken down into three different parts. You've got the role or the user. You know,
Okay.
that could be a student perspective, parent perspective, faculty perspective, administrator perspective. You know, whatever type of role that you're thinking of, and then what you're trying to do as part of this product, and then the reason why. So it kind of answers those questions of who, what, when, where, why, when, and it doesn't all have to be all of those for each user story.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I'm going to bring this up right here, and now on the screen you can see the sticky note slide that you have here, and so it says, what does it say?
So as you can see, the sticky note, it says, as a user, that role that we had talked about, I want to do this so that I can achieve that. So that's basically what your user story is going to look like. And an example of this could be, as a student, I want to be able to register multiple family members for family weekend at once so that I don't have to register for it multiple times.
So it looks like it's that simple, and so are people actually going to be writing on the sticky notes?
Yes. So the idea is that everybody's going to get a stack of sticky notes, and then they're going to start writing their user stories based off of how they may want to use the ITSM system, or how they may view someone else needs to use it, and they're just going to keep writing until they can think of all the different scenarios that pop up.
Like on a million different sticky notes?
Yep.
Okay, so let's see how you explained it at a recent event where we were gathering requirements for an event calendar. Roll footage.
The reason is because this is a great way to gather a lot of information from a lot of people in a very quick period of time. And as you can look around the room, we have a lot of people, and we need to gather a lot of information in a short period of time, so that's why we're using sticky notes. So we do user stories like this so that we're not capturing the technical requirements, we're capturing the business value requirements of what we want the system to do. So I'll have a few different examples of this just so you can get ideas. As a student, I want to be able to register multiple family members for a family weekend at once so that I do not have to register for it multiple times. As the Director of Web Communications, I want to be able to customize the look of an event form to match a specific theme for an event so that we can continue a consistent Loyola brand experience. As a student, I want an automated notification reminder email sent so that I can be reminded of my upcoming event. As an event administrator, I want to be able to create custom reports of my event information on the fly so that I can get the right information to the right people at the right time. And then last examples, as a training coordinator, I want to be able to create multiple training classes from a single class template so that I can save time when creating classes and not have to recreate the same class at a different time. As an event administrator, I want to have people register for paid and unpaid activities on the same form so that I don't have to create multiple forms for one event. So what we're going to do is I have stacks of sticky notes. I'm going to pass them out to each side. You can just grab like a whole bunch and pass. And we're just going to sit and start writing. Remember, as a user, I want to do something to achieve this. Then as we're finished writing, or as we maybe need some more ideas, we're actually going to start posting them on the wall. We're going to use that wall back there, and post them up on the wall, and then as you're posting, read what other people have wrote in theirs, and start putting yours together based off of roles. So if you find that you've written a lot of your user stories from a student perspective, start putting them with a student perspectives category. And what that'll do is it'll be able to form who's going to be using the system, how they're going to be using the system, and we'll be able to categorize and build those requirements off of that.
Okay, so that was nicely done there. And I guess one of the points that we made after you finished speaking during that event was we actually said, don't forget when you're writing things down that you can put yourself in the role of anybody else. You don't have to write the user story from your own perspective. You could put yourself in the role of a student or as an administrator or a vendor or a visitor or a parent or anything like that, right?
Yeah, and the biggest benefit of, I think, doing it this method is we can collect a lot of information from a lot of people in a very short period of time. So like when we just did it, we had about 20 people in the room, and in less than a half hour, we had 75 different user stories that we're able to build our requirements off of.
Yeah, so that's a lot of user stories. Okay, so everyone now has written down a zillion different sticky notes from lots of different perspectives, from everything that they can dredge out of their brain from the perspective of being these different roles in these user stories. And now we've got a little footage of you here and actually others putting stuff up on the wall. So can you explain what the heck they're doing here as I roll that footage?
Sure. People are going up and putting their user stories up on the wall. They're reading what other people are putting up there, and then they are taking their user stories and putting them with similar roles. So that way we start grouping all the different user stories by those roles. And it's just a way for somebody who might think that they have no more user stories to write, read somebody else's, and something sparks their mind. So it's really a way to communicate out those user stories to other people and also start that organization of categorizing them.
So even when they're working on the wall, if they want to, they can grab the sticky pad and throw a few more up there.
Yep.
And go from there. Okay, well, great. And so now we've got a little bit of footage of you actually reading out the requirements. What's the value in doing that?
Just so that everyone hears the other user stories, they can spark other user stories out from there, and it really just gets everybody on the same page to understanding what we're looking to do and what people are wanting this new product or service to do.
Okay, that sounds good. And then what happens then? Everybody goes home, goes to lunch, or what?
Yes.
Drinks on you?
On Rich.
Oh, on me. Oh, okay, good. Yeah. No. So really, what happens then?
So we take all of the sticky notes and we transcribe them electronically, so that way we have a record of them. We'll take those and then we'll start breaking those down into actual requirements.
Now, just to use speech that is more in the vernacular, transcribing them electronically means putting them into Microsoft Word?
Sounds good.
Okay, like bullet points.
Yes.
Or I guess you could do Excel or any way that you want to capture
something
them.
like that.
Okay.
Just something so that we're not walking around with sticky notes all the time.
All over us.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And then we'll be able to actually build out these product requirements, functional requirements, technical requirements based off of these user stories.
Yeah.
And so what we can find is many user stories might all point back to one or two requirements, or maybe each user story has its own requirements or many requirements based off of a user story.
Well, they say everybody's got a story. In this case, they've got lots of them, hopefully on sticky notes. So, Scott, can you just real quick, what are the steps involved in doing the user story exercise?
Sure. Well, we're going to take sticky notes, and we're going to grab a marker.
Okay.
Yes,
These are very detailed steps.
Yes. And we're going to write our user stories. Remember, the format is, as a user, I want to be able to do this so that I can achieve that.
Okay. Got it.
We'll take those sticky notes, we'll paste them on, or we'll stick them, not paste, we'll stick them on the wall. We'll start moving the sticky notes together in different categories based off of those roles. Then we'll take those after we go through them with the group, if there's time, and we will get them electronically, and then we'll start building out our requirements.
All right. Well, that sounds great, Scott. Well, thank you very much. Scott really is an expert in doing this kinds of exercises, and actually an expert of doing just about anything with sticky notes. I've noticed that's really one of your absolute favorite ways to brainstorm or really accomplish just about anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, at any rate, you definitely do the sticky note proud. So that's the end of our user story, and we look forward to further sessions.
Sounds good.
Whatever that means.
What's your story?